in the introduction to Shirley Jackson's iconic short story, The Lottery. It's the morning of June 27th in a small village, and its residents, about 300 people, gather in the town square to participate in The Lottery, which begins at 10 a.m. The children gather first. Several young boys begin to select smooth, round stones and pile them in the center of the square. The men arrive, chatting casually and making quiet jokes. And soon after, the women follow, exchanging gossip. Mr. Summers, who runs the coal business and officiates at town social events, arrives with a shabby black wooden box under his arm that has remained in use for over 77 years. Not wishing to upset tradition, the villagers never make a new box, despite the fact that aspects of the old ritual have been forgotten or discarded. Records list heads of families, heads of households in each family, and members of each household before the lottery begins. The postmaster swears in Mr. Summers as the lottery official. In prior years, the official performed a recital described as a tuneless chant and saluted residents as they drew slips. But nowadays, the official greets each resident without a salute. Tessie Hutchinson arrives late to the lottery, explaining to her amused friend that she forgot what day it was, only remembering when she looked out her window to notice her family gone. Mr. Summers jokes about her late arrival, and Mrs. Hutchinson says lightly that she had to finish washing the dishes, which cracks up the gathered crowd. Mr. Summers then explains the rules that the residents have heard many times before. The official will read the names of each family. The head of each household will come up and draw a paper from the box, keeping the paper folded until everyone eligible to draw has taken a slip. The men approach the box in alphabetical order by last name and solemnly take their paper slips. As the names are called, a nervous tension begins to settle over the assembled townspeople. Old Man Warner rants about the North Village, where folks are talking about giving up the lottery. Cantankerous Old Man Warner says nothing is good enough for the young folks. They might as well live in caves and quit working. He repeats a familiar saying, "Lottery in June, corn be heavy soon." Mrs. Adams points out that some towns have actually already stopped lotteries. Old Man Warner announces that this is his 77th lottery. After the heads of each household have drawn their slips, they open their slips all at once. Bill Hutchinson has been selected in the first round of the lottery. Tessie Hutchinson complains that Mr. Summers didn't give her husband enough time to take any paper he wanted. Other women in the crowd quiet her, and Bill himself tells his wife to shut up. The family draws lots amongst themselves in the final round of the lottery. Mr. Summers asks Mr. Hutchinson if there are any other households in the Hutchinson family. Mrs. Hutchinson says that her daughter Eva and her husband Don should take their chance. Mr. Summers reminds her that daughters draw with their husbands' families, and Bill Hutchinson agrees that's what's fair. Their family includes only himself, his wife, and their 3 youngest kids, Bill Jr., Nancy, and Davy. The 5 Hutchinson slips are put in the box and then drawn by the members of the family. Old Man Warner grumbles that people aren't the way they used to be. The Hutchinson children open their papers, and they're all blank. So is Bill's. On Mr. Summers' instructions, Bill forces the slip out of Tessie's hand and reveals a black dot made with a heavy pencil. Mr. Summers tells the crowd to finish quickly. The children grab stones. Someone gives pebbles to little Davy Hutchinson. The villagers take stones from the pile the young boys made earlier in the day. Tessie holds her hands out desperately as the crowd moves in on her. The first stone hits her as Old Man Warner urges the others on. Tessie pleads with the crowd, screaming, "It isn't fair! It isn't right!" And then they were upon her.